have to look at, why do you want to create? What's
Hmm.
important to you, and who are you? Who are you in this world? What are you
Yeah.
about? I finally figured out what my life purpose is, and my life purpose is to love what I love and to share my love and to inspire other people to love what they love. So
Ooh,
love,
that's
just like
good.
what love,
Can I
that's
steal
it.
that? Can I steal that and make
And
my life purpose? Would you be cool with that if I stole it?
well, I stole some of your lens statements, but you can
Oh,
steal
cool,
anything you want.
perfect. Yeah, it's a lending library.
Joyfully expect things to work out.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
But so go to your original impulse, go to your lens statement, go to
Yeah,
your why, and
your
look
true
at,
north. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So when I think about when I'm drawing or painting, I'm doing that because I love it. It's just fun. And so I think I answered the question. I don't want to go on and on.
Yeah,
And if
totally.
I didn't answer, I'm happy to go on and on.
All right, our last question here, because I want to be mindful of your time, Cynthia, and I want to allow a little bit of time at the end for our wrap up. But our friend Melissa had a couple questions. What if writing isn't the issue, but doing something relevant and meaningful with it, as in publishing on any level? So is it that, maybe she would feel more validated if it was like widely disseminated? So she's able to create, she's prolific, but she mentions then that she maybe hides the best parts and is probably ready for a wider audience. So, what do you say to those people that are really looking to kind of make a bigger footprint for their work?
Well, always getting people back to their original impulse and their motivation. Why are you writing? What's important about this
Yeah.
for you? What is relevant and meaningful for you first, and then to whom do you want your writing to be relevant and meaningful? And how do
Mm-hmm.
you get that to them? So I ask all these kind of questions with my clients and students. What's this about for you? Because I don't just assume some standard reason for doing anything.
Yeah.
And once you're clear on that, it's weird. It's almost a double-edged sword, because the meaningfulness can like spur you on, and it can also scare you even more. But
Sure.
I find having peers, creative colleagues, creative buddies has helped me enormously. So some kind of support, whether you have a coach or a writing buddy or a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Accountability
yesterday I
partner.
was well, just like somebody to hold your hand. Yesterday, it was a Facebook chat. I was holding the hand of a friend who was launching something. She's like, I'm scared. I'm like, I get it. Do it. I'll be
Yeah.
here
Right.
with you.
Right.
So, Melissa, if you have, if it's like at that point of hitting send, like having somebody there with you, if you're at the point of, where do I disseminate this, or how do I get this out there,
Yeah.
then you can, just having people in there with you. I think the reason I have a job helping creative people is because um, it's really daunting to put stuff out there. Anything that we're putting out there is completely new and different, for us, for the world, and we have no idea if it's going to work. When I put my annual report out, I was really excited about it, but I was totally terrified as
Mm-hmm.
well. So you put it out there, and then you duck and you hide, and um, it's just part of the process. I remember, um, so another kind of core belief that I have about why we create and why it matters is, I believe that every creative work that we put out in the world works us too.
Mm.
And when we were in the Good Life Project together and doing all this stuff to make a more smooth and happy experience, like drinking the green smoothies
You're right.
and doing the meditation and all that. And I love all that. I'm totally with that. And then I also realized, if you're not scared, you're not doing the right thing. If you're
Yeah.
not
Right.
quaking, if you're not somehow like rinsed or scoured, or like you just went through some kind of cosmic creative car wash, this like scrubbing and
Yeah.
washing you,
Yeah.
and it's moving you. So don't be afraid of the guilt or the fear or all those emotions. Just don't get attached to them. Just be like, oh yeah, there I am, scared again. Of course I'm scared. It's a really vulnerable moment, but it's okay. I will survive.
Yeah.
The
So
more you do that, the more you get into relationship with that kind of fear, and the more you kind of start liking it.
well, and it creates the best work. I mean, I always say, like, sometimes your brilliant idea or the thing you should be doing or your original impulse by the degree to which it scares the living shit out of you. At first, you're like, not, oh, it won't go away. Like, I'll tell you right now, I'll be vulnerable, is I have this vision in my head of creating a one-man off-Broadway show around my manifesto. So it's music, it's messages, it's the lessons, it's scripted, it's the spoken word.
I
It's
want a front row seat.
me too. Can you write it for me? So I have all the pieces, parts in different places, the songs, the writing, all this stuff. But it's one of those things where it's just like where to begin, how big, how, and I know from going through the process with you of how I have to kind of set up my life a little bit to make sure I have the space to get it done. But that's my thing, and the reason I could share that with you guys is because it creates some public accountability, but it scares the living shit out of me, quite frankly, because who am I to blah, 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 create this multimedia experience. But it feels like it. And I know it because it's spooky.
Well, that's great. And I think the the thing is we grow according to the skills we need. Like
Yeah.
you will grow those skills. So when you get this big, great,
Right.
huge idea, a friend of mine really helped me with this, kind of thinking about the accordion. Here's this big idea, and you can scale it to any degree. And so if you need to scale it down to, okay, a one-man show like this in my living room for my kids to start,
Yeah, yeah.
and then scale it. Uh, so even just in your mind, scaling it down to some kind of doable form can help to get to that
Yeah.
bigger thing.
And honestly, this the production of this show is kind of the first step. Like I never picked up my guitar in the context of me speaking, about these concepts before, visuals. I mean, it's just like orienting yourself in little steps and taking those risks. Well, I want to be mindful of your time, Cynthia. I hate to close this up with you, but thank you so much for lending your wisdom. You could check Cynthia out at originalimpulse.com and make sure you download her 2013 annual report. It just came out a couple weeks ago, and it's called, remind me the title again. Is it Creativity is Vitality? What is it?
Creativity is a source of my vitality, and it's on my
Yeah.
blog.
Yeah.
You'll see a little badge in the sidebar.
Yeah, definitely check it
Thanks,
out.
Kristoffer.
Thank you so much. And her free write fling is starting up again soon. I'd highly recommend doing that. I've done that with her before. It's awesome. So thank you, Sister Cynthia. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. All right, what'd you guys think of Cynthia Morris? Bravo, Cynthia. Cynthia rocked. Cool, Cassandra. I'm glad you dug it. We only have a few minutes here, and I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Wow, yeah. I'm telling you, Cynthia's the real deal. She will help you get your shit done and out into the world. The manifesto was a series of articles. It didn't have a ton of graphics. It didn't have the framework, for instance, a lot of ingredients, and through working with Cynthia, a lot of that came together. It started to crystallize, and I mean, it was her job to pull the best out of me. That's what she does. Yeah, very cool, Sherry. Thanks for weighing in on that. So I want to talk really quick about this idea of yes and. This is a very powerful concept. I learned this, I took an improv class at Second City, and improv actors, if you've read Tina Fey's book, this concept of yes and, where if you're creating anything, you got to train yourself the best way possible to stay in the mode of yes and. So like say you just wrote a terrible sentence that nobody will ever want to read, including yourself. You say yes and blah 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 blah. You finish it up and you yes and this. My friends who have written literally hundreds of songs in one year, this guy Hamill on Trial, Ed Hamill, one of the most prolific songwriters I know. I'm a huge fan of his art and work. I interviewed him about creating one of my favorite records ever made, which is this record called Chooch Town, and I asked him about his method. And he said, well, he brought up this idea of yes and, that he stays in this mode of like, yeah, it's all cool until I decide otherwise. So, all of us immediately judge the thing that comes out of us. And it's like you're killing it before it has a chance. You're like eating your young. So you want to just give yourself the first benefit of the doubt by saying, yes, and I'll come back and edit this later. So you fill a page, come back to it, chop it down into a killer paragraph, whatever that may be. But stay in the mode of yes and. I want to talk a little bit about paying attention to the things that you love and how they are made. This documentary kicked my ass years ago, Funky Monks, the making of Blood Sugar Sex Magic. This record was one of my favorite records ever in high school, and I needed to know every gritty detail about how it was made. So start paying attention to how the books you love were written, how they were created, where the big insights came from. The other one is how Paul's Boutique was made, this phenomenal hip-hop record. This particular book, by the way, 33 and a Third by Dan Leroy, The Making of Paul's Boutique, will blow your freaking mind. Best making of an album book I've ever read. And current obsessions include the making of Daft Punk's new record. They have videos on their site, as well as I'm obsessed with Disney's Frozen. Do you want to build a snowman? All right, anyway, I want to get to some really quick book recommendations. This one should come as no surprise. Autobiography of a Yogi's for my soul, non-negotiable. Vitality, if you've ever heard of Sakyong Mipham, the global head of Shambhala Buddhism, started running marathons at the age of 40, and I think the cat's running close to like a 2 to 3 hour marathon, like right in there in that sweet spot. He's very fast. He's north of 40, and he's going to only get better, but he meditated from the time he was 6 years old. Now he's running. Family, I actually think of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People as a family book, believe it or not. Stephen Covey had 9 kids, so when I think of my trials and tribulations with 3, I'm like, I'm being a damn baby. The cat had 3 times as many kids. When he passed away a couple years ago, all 9 of his children were holding hands in a circle around his bed, and I thought that was the ultimate legacy for him, and this dude sold tens of millions of books across the world in how many other languages. This is the one I wanted to get to. Art. If you want a book on the creative process, get this book. This book changed everything for me in the last few years. Twyla Tharp, The Creative Habit. She is a world-renowned choreographer, a Broadway choreographer, and her book opens up with this white room. She's standing in a white room, and she said, okay, the tickets have already been on sale. I haven't created one dance step yet. I have 12 weeks to design a Broadway-worthy event. And it's this white room. So it's like, who do you call? What do you do? But she talks about all of her habits to support that. And then she talks about her process every step of the way to create something amazing. I'd highly recommend this book. It's a little bit like a textbook, but I couldn't put it down when I picked it up. And we'll talk about this next week in the work section, Raising the Bar, Cliff Bar. So I want to check in really quick and see how it's going. I've been hearing some rumblings around here about it's going great, it's not going. Don't be so hard on yourself on creating the habits. I would probably give myself, if I had to grade myself over the past week, I'm really killing it on soul. This is my cornerstone, what I need to be sane. Vitality, it's too cold to get outside. I just need some better Under Armour, supposedly. And family, I'd give myself a solid B. I just wanted to have more shows of affection last week, more attention. And I'm going to ask you now to commit to a ritual or some sort of thing you could do to push your creativity along for next week. Maybe it's going and picking up a cool book. Maybe it's checking out Cynthia's site, signing up for her free write fling. Maybe it's just scheduling some creative time on your calendar and putting some of those transitions into place we talked about. Putting a new frame on how you create for your job. Here's the thing I want to leave you with, is that the framework is deeper than I initially realized. And I hit this moment of insight last summer when I was training for a half marathon. I had run about 11 miles and I had a bunch of business calls to make. So I probably shouldn't have tried to squeeze in 10 miles in the morning before work, but I did. And as I got to this point on my vitality practice that morning, I reached what I call an integration point. So the outside of each of these non-negotiables, they move from proficiency inward towards the center to on a continuum towards mastery. And when you slip through kind of that little wormhole of mastery, all the other non-negotiables are open up to you at this point, and then you can start leveraging what I call full life integration. Very powerful, because when I finished that 10-mile run, I was feeling so excellent that I immediately got on the phone with the work contacts and completely hit it out of the park. I didn't need to be at my computer like, oh, I need to get you this deliverable and send it right away. It was a conversation, but I was so opened up to all of my channels at that point that only good things could come from it. So I wanted to just kind of plant the seed, because we'll talk a little bit about it next week. And certainly music is one of those things too. When I'm really on my game musically, I could access all these other things like soul, family. They all become one. And that's kind of where I want to try to lead you guys towards, is that we want to be one integrated being this year. We want to take the whole of ourselves into every situation. In short, and Cynthia gave me my tagline, be who you are wherever you are. So with that, I'm going to leave you with a little song. Does that sound good? And this is kind of a funny, silly song, if you could deal with me. Can you humor me? All right. Baby threw up in my hair. I sorta went dark side from there. Our other kid had Little League. A nice line drive to the nuts for me. Then Lumberg came into my cube. He said, Saturday, sound good to you? Now Grumpy Bear's up overhead. He's pointing down, he's laughing now, he's laughing, and yet when you ask me how I am, I'm marginally spectacular, I'm fairly outstanding, I'm basically unstoppable. Oh girl, I gotta thank you for asking. I'm so powerfully enamored by the glow of your skin. It's unquestionably good to be me when you're nearby, woman. But when you called, I fumbled the phone, and it went splash into the throne. I think the dog shit in my shoes. My car won't budge, it got the boot. My hard drive failed, the photo's gone. Damn hooligans turfed the lawn. So if I well up when the wind blows, there's probably a zit up in my nose. And yet, when you ask me how I've been, I'm marginally spectacular, I'm fairly outstanding, I'm basically invincible. Oh girl, I gotta thank you for asking. So another round of high fives, I'm pretty much a champion. It's unquestionably good to be me when you're nearby, woman. It's unquestionably good to be me when you're nearby, woman. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you so much, y'all. This has been Session 4, Good Life Project. Oh, I work for the Good Life Project. It is kind of a Good Life Project, but it's the 2014 project from This Epic Life. Here we go. This is what I need you to do. Thanks so much, Sherry. I appreciate it. Thank you, Heather. Come back again, you hear? Martin. All right, Deborah. My pleasure. Always my pleasure. Just remember your habits first this week. Start some journaling if you don't journal already. Schedule some creative time. Share in the Facebook page how things are going. We always love hearing from you. I'd love to kick your butt if you need it. What will I do without you on Thursdays when this is over, Karen Gordon? Oh, that's such a great... I appreciate that. You know, I'll be fully transparent with you guys if you want to be in the trust tree for a second about some things I could potentially be planning after this. I've really kicked around the idea of offering an ongoing program. I never wanted this to be a type of webinar where it's like, you know, the pitch is coming and like, sign up for my 12-week hoobly-ha! I don't believe in that crap. Not that it doesn't have value, but I wanted to start by just giving as much as I could this year and kind of seeing where that led me. To tell you the truth, my bandwidth is pretty limited at the moment, so to fully support people in a way that I think they deserve to be supported, I really wanted to think through what that would look like. So I might talk more about it next week, and this is in no way a tease of like, is he doing it, is he not? It's just, it's quite frankly where I am with it. But I've definitely loved this process of creating a curriculum around what I do and just hearing all of your stories. Hoobly-ha! You're in? You had me at hoobly-ha? Oh, that's so funny. Oh, yeah. Killer. Yeah, catch you next week, Silas. Thanks, brother. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a monthly thing. That'd be cool. I don't know. Would you guys show up for a monthly thing if we did this? I just love... I mean, for me, the payoff is really hearing your stories and hearing the development and hearing your application of these ideas. You'll hear next week, and I wish next week was 2 hours, really, but... when we start talking about the full life integration, that's where we're all leading to. And my idea was to offer some ongoing support in terms of putting together all the non-negotiables, threading them as I call it, into the force multiplier for full life integration. I can tell you that it's something that I use on a daily basis to be able to step away from my desk for a minute and to create at this level, then go back and then hopefully create 5 times more because I'm so hype. That's the thing I'm talking about. All right, my friend Karen, I will definitely follow up with you. I have so much homework for you. Cool. Yeah, monthly stuff. We'll see. It's like if we could have a standing appointment on monthly, I'd love for people to show up for it and have the word get around about it. I think that'd be great. Killer. So with that, I'm going to leave you with a sincere thank you for showing up week after week and doing this work with me. I'm really the least part of the equation. I'm kind of like the guy that just works here. My job is to facilitate you taking some action in your 2014 to put some good things into place for you and everybody who knows you. And I think you're starting to take me seriously on that, which I could really appreciate and respect. Stay warm, brother. Spitzer, I could show you out my window here. I mean, you can kind of see the whiteness. It is very, very snowy out there. Very cold. So with that, I leave you. Much love, everybody from Akron, Ohio. Stay warm. Peace.